All right, let's talk about a true giant of music, Ludwig van Beethoven. This is the story of a man who, faced with total silence, somehow managed to hear eternity.
I mean, just think about that for a second. It's the central, almost unbelievable paradox of his entire life. This story goes way beyond just music, right? It's really a testament to the sheer power of the human spirit. So how on earth does a composer build entire worlds of sound when he can't even hear them himself?
You know, his journey is this incredible story of staggering genius up against a truly devastating fate. But here's the thing. It's not a tragedy. Not really. It's a story of triumph, and it's a triumph that completely changed what music could even be.
So, to really get the man, we've got to start at the very beginning. Let's look at his journey from this small German city to, well, the musical capital of the world.
So from a super young age, Beethoven's whole life was music. I mean, born in Bonn back in 1770, he was immediately pushed into this really harsh training by his father. His dad dreamed of having the next Mozart in the family, and that meant things like dragging a little kid out of bed for late-night keyboard practice. But the thing is, his talent was just undeniable. At just 7 years old, he had his first public performance. By 13, he'd already published his first piece. So yeah, the pressure was absolutely immense, but man, so was the promise.
Then, in 1792, at age 21, Beethoven makes the move that would completely define his life. He leaves his hometown for Vienna. And he wasn't just going there to study. He was going there to conquer. And he pretty quickly got this reputation as a total piano virtuoso, famous for these powerful, passionate improvisations he'd perform in the fancy salons of the Viennese nobility. And you can just feel the weight of expectation on him. This note from an early patron, Count Waldstein, says it all. He was supposed to receive Mozart's spirit from Haydn's hands. As he's heading to Vienna to study with the great Joseph Haydn, the message was crystal clear. You're the next one. You're the heir to Mozart. No pressure, right? The pressure was definitely on.
But, of course, just as his career is hitting these incredible new heights, an absolutely unimaginable crisis starts to unfold.
I mean, for a musician, can you think of a crueler fate? In his late 20s, he starts getting the first symptoms, this buzzing in his ears, this slow, creeping decline in his hearing. He tried to hide it, of course. He was terrified that his career, his whole identity was about to be just destroyed. By 1802, his despair was just so deep. He went to this little town called Heiligenstadt and wrote this letter to his brothers, a letter he actually never sent. And it is a raw, heartbreaking window into his soul. In it, he just confesses this deep suffering and even admits he'd been thinking about suicide. But then comes the turning point. Right there, in the depths of his darkness, he finds his reason to keep going, his art. He writes that he couldn't possibly leave the world until he'd brought forth everything he felt was inside of him. Just think about that. He decided he would not be silenced by silence.
And that one personal decision, it ended up having a monumental impact on the entire history of music. This incredible struggle unleashed a new kind of creative force in him, one that would literally build a bridge between two totally different musical worlds.
See, Beethoven was standing right at a turning point. He'd completely mastered the classical style of Haydn and Mozart, a style all about order, balance, and clarity, but his own personal turmoil, his fiery spirit, it pushed him to create something totally new. Something that would define the next era, the Romantic era. We're talking music that's just overflowing with raw emotion, intense drama, and heroic struggle.
What he did was, frankly, radical. He took the symphony and just blew it up, made it longer, grander, and way more emotionally complex than anyone had ever heard. He turned the piano from this elegant little instrument into a machine for thunderous passion. And maybe most importantly, music was no longer just polite entertainment. In Beethoven's hands, it became this deep, personal expression of the human soul. This was the birth of what we now call his heroic period.
I mean, just think of the Fifth Symphony. Da, 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 dum. That's not just a catchy tune. It's a statement. It's the sound of struggle, of fate itself, just pounding at the door. And the whole symphony takes you on this journey, from that dark, defiant opening all the way to a final, blazing triumph.
And if you need the ultimate proof of his genius, just look at what he did at the very end. The Ninth Symphony. He composed this when he was almost completely deaf. And for the first time ever in a major symphony, he adds a choir. That final movement, the Ode to Joy, is just this soaring, magnificent call for universal brotherhood. It's a message of total unity created by a man living in profound isolation. It's so powerful, it's still the official anthem of the European Union today.
So, Beethoven's life was this incredible testament to resilience, and his death, well, it wasn't an end at all. It was really just the beginning of an immortal legacy.
When he died in 1827, all of Vienna mourned him like a hero. We're talking an estimated 10,000 people lining the streets for his funeral. He had become way more than just a composer. He was a cultural icon, a symbol of the city itself.
So what did he really leave us? What's his lasting impact? Well, he basically gave the symphony its modern purpose, to be an epic emotional journey. He unleashed the incredible power of the solo piano. But bigger than all that, he taught us that music could mirror our deepest struggles and our greatest triumphs. And his life? It's still the ultimate story of an artist who simply refused to be defeated. His life spanned 56 years. That's it. A finite amount of time. But what he created in that time, well, that would become infinite.
And that's the beautiful, almost perfect irony of his story, isn't it? His deafness cut him off from the world, but his music connected him to all of humanity. Forever.
And maybe that's the ultimate lesson here. Beethoven wasn't just hearing with his ears. He was composing from memory, from imagination, from his own inner world. He was tapping into a source that was way deeper than sound, a source of pure, unconquerable spirit.
His work isn't just a collection of notes on a page. It's courage, it's pain, it's joy, it's victory, all made audible. He gave us the soundtrack to our own humanity. So the next time you really listen to Beethoven, ask yourself, what part of my own story, what part of my own soul do I hear in this music?